It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 515. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
The guild authorizes you to begin this podcast.
Grace.
Hello.
Tam.
We're not authorized to start this podcast. Can you not?
Thalen.
Hi there.
So happy lose an hour weekend? Because by the time you're actually listening to this, you will be groggy.
Thanks. I hate it.
Yeah, it's always a miserable experience.
It's extra fun when idiots make you want to come back to the office full time.
So I realize we talked about Last Epoch last week, but they're basically going on a series of interviews revealing more information about what is coming April 2nd. And my goodness, they've been doing some stuff.
Oh, is this like where they take off?
This is where they take off, yeah. So basically, Judd and Holly and someone else that I am not remembering the name of did a podcast with Zizaran and Raxxanterax, which those two together are a pretty reasonable group. And basically just kind of talk through everything that had come out in the trailer and since the trailer. And I think, the next podcast that they're going to be on is with Gazzy and Darth Microtransaction, and they're basically doing a series of these leading up to the launch in lieu of their normal Friday dev chat stream that they do.
Belle, I really admire your ability to say some of those names with a completely straight face.
Yes.
They're people in the ARPG community.
No, I heard all these names. Like, I assume these are all people. I don't know who any of these people are. I know who Darth Microtransaction is because you brought him up before. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, Rax is basically like, he was Mr. Diablo 3 and has done a lot of coverage of Diablo 4 and more recently Path of Exile 2. Zizaran obviously is that guy from Path of Exile.
I only know who all of these people are because they're in Frosty Lure's videos.
Yes. Gazzy is basically the minion guy from Path of Exile. But anyway, so like they're doing these community podcasts, and they're like really substantive podcasts. And basically, like, one of the things they said is the reason why it's taken 9 months is they had plans for Cycle 2, and that they realized based on the feedback that they were getting that it was going to come across as real tone deaf if they rolled out Cycle 2, because it wasn't going to address any of the complaints with the game. Namely, like, the complaint with the game is, like, there's a really shallow end game. That's really the thing that people can knock it for. So, and quite honestly, like, they've done what they did for trade versus SSF, but for other things that have been traditional problems in ARPGs. So, like, one of the challenges that they've had up to this point is that they made set items, but their set items were mostly useless. They were something that, like, if you happened to get them while you were leveling, you might use them, but nobody was going to use them in the end game because they just weren't as good as an equivalent exalted item even. And they come up with a novel solution for that. So where you could basically, like, sacrifice a set of items and pull, like, an essence thing off of it and then add it to an exalted item to turn that exalted item into a thing that qualifies for the set bonus but has the stats of the exalted item.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's the ESO approach.
Yeah, so basically it's that same concept from ESO or and honestly, like, Diablo Immortal did this. And to some extent, Diablo IV does this with their legendaries, but where you can basically sort of, but it's not sets. They're just, the perks. But the idea is that you now might care about some of these set bonuses because the bonuses themselves weren't bad. They were useful. They might be build-arounds. So essentially, they've added pressure to the gear so that there's a bunch of competing systems that you might want. So there's pieces.
Weaver's Will, there's set pieces.
There's champion items that have unique things that only work on specific slots. But
unique affixes that are only available on the champion exalted items.
And then obviously legendaries are still going to be strong, but probably in your build you're going to want to dip into several of them, so it gives you a bunch of things to chase. The Weaver's Will items, they're adding in a type of crafting currency that you can apply to a Weaver's Will item to basically unlock some levels in it without having to actually equip it and level it.
So you can get it started without having to waste your time. You can see very quickly, is the first stat that this unlocks going to be garbage or not?
I love Weaver's Will items.
But they're hard to replace, or they're hard to level once you're in the end game because you're going to be substantially weaker for a little bit until it levels up. So by throwing one of these items at it, you can at least kind of tell, is it a halfway decent item? God, they've got like the basically the functionality where you can re-roll legendaries. That's going to be interesting. So you basically sacrifice another copy of an item, and you can essentially divine orb the legendary, and like try and get a better roll on it.
You can re-roll exalt in a couple different ways, which is nice. I especially like the version where if you get an exalted item that has good stats, but the wrong ones are exalted, you can re-roll it. It will keep the same rank of everything, but it will shuffle which affix gets the exalt.
Which should be really good when
that's cool.
You've got so with Circle of Fortune, it is not unheard of that you get an item that has 3 exalted stats on it. And sometimes one of those is just on the wrong one. And you could probably really quickly switch that around to where, oh no, all your good stats are now exalted.
Yep.
You're going to be able to craft on idols, so you can do something with them.
I'm so excited about this. And it's essentially, it sounds like basically adding Weaver's Will to your idols also. So really curious what that's going to look like in practice, but I love the idea of idols not just being super boring anymore.
Yes.
They lowered the base difficulty of Aberoth.
And they added an Uber version.
Yeah, so that hopefully more people will actually get to Aberoth. But, then there's the Uber version that's got unique drops that are I don't know, the couple of items that they showed off are these are well worth chasing. I like that you can convert keys into portal charms that go straight to the boss instead of running the dungeons.
It's like a 3-to-1 ratio, which seems like a fair trade for the number of keys you end up with.
Absolutely do that, because I always have way more, but keys go into the inventory. Crafting materials get auto sucked into the inventory and transferred to your crafting inventory without ever hitting your actual real inventory. So the thing that was confusing from the trailer was tombs and cemeteries. And essentially they're both procedurally generated content, but the difference is a tomb is kind of like a Val side area, and it appears in an existing echo, whereas a cemetery is a custom echo that's just the big cemetery level. And by running those is how you level this Weaver's Will faction. and those were going to be what drop the woven echoes that allow you to basically put custom things on your monolith tree.
Sounds like there's also going to be some crafting tied to that as well. Like, it's just, there's so much, and everything that they are talking about for this patch sounds awesome.
Yeah, like all these ideas seem really well designed.
Of all the things that they talked about, all the things in the trailer, all the details that they went into, I don't think I heard a single thing that made me go, oh, that's a shame. No, everything sounds positive, if not amazing.
Right.
So excited about more crafting, so excited about more endgame content. I take or leave a new faction, but the fact that it gives us a way to essentially shape the monolith and, sort of act like an atlas, that sounds really excellent. Having some procedurally generated content so that every map isn't pretty much one you've already run before is also excellent.
And all of the new crafting currency that do specific things, like the ability to re-roll the exalt or whatever they said, are basically the same rarity as a rune of ascendance, which is rare, but you end up with a lot of them. So you shouldn't be starved out of doing this.
Yeah, it's a pretty reasonable, I think, kind of rarity. It's not something you get every single run, but it's something that you'll have enough of to mess around with.
I've absolutely spent 60 runes of ascendance trying to get a chess piece before.
I think the number of runes of ascension I have gotten total is under 10.
Really?
Yeah, I never see those things.
I know the higher you get into Circle of Fortune, the more often you see them.
And the loot lizard, I think, also helped, in more recent patches.
I never had luck with the loot lizards, but I'm so bad at noticing that those things are there fast enough to do anything about them.
They make their ridiculous little giggling noises.
It's so one of my problem is that I'm frequently playing on the podcast without sound on, which definitely does put a damper on things. But yeah, I'll have to chase them down more. I mean, it's also entirely possible I just got ridiculously unlucky if those are as common as they seem like they are. It wouldn't be the first time.
So the other thing that's going to really help them is they have kind of a clear spot to launch in the ARPG genre right now. 0.2.0 for Path of Exile 2 doesn't have a date yet, and it probably won't be before April 2nd.
Yeah.
3.26 is like June-ish is what they're talking about now for the next major Path of Exile League. They've extended the Legacy of Frisia event, but like a lot of folks are already burnt on that since it wasn't a real league. So then also we'll talk about this in a little bit, but the next Diablo IV season is going to be a massive step backwards. So I don't think they're going to draw anybody away with that. So they've got like a gap in the lineup of things that I think like this could be a pivotal moment for them in drawing the attention of a lot of eyes.
Yeah. I mean, everything you've described is amazing.
Yeah, they got so much attention at their launch, and then, it just unfortunately has been a really long time between major content patches for them, but I think this one is going to be really amazing. I really hope that it draws people back in, and if they can actually keep up the pace from here on out, it doesn't have to be the same pace as other, AAA level ARPGs, but if they can keep up a reasonable pace, I think people are going to keep coming back, and I think the game is going to keep getting better. Their design ethos, the way that they are setting up their systems, just feels so good as an ARPG player. Is just striking every perfect note. And yeah, I can't wait.
It's really good.
And they've been willing to listen to feedback, because like they were very much in the camp that, you know, your mastery choice should be a meaningful decision and you should have to re-roll to play other types of masteries with your classes, but have gotten so much feedback to the contrary that they introduced a mastery respec in this upcoming season. So like the willingness to step away from, you know, the design manifesto and understand like maybe some of these things aren't what people actually want. Like, and that's a good sign, I think.
Yeah, I was really relieved to hear them talking on the interview about, you know, well, we had some other things in mind for the next cycle, but we got so much feedback that we thought it would seem kind of tone deaf if we didn't address that first. And like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
More studios need to do this.
And like, it's not always possible with development times, but like they've had the development time. Like, if you're gonna do your planning, you can build in that time. There's a humility to a lot of the stuff I've seen to them that it feels like it's really good. Healthy, that's the word I'm looking for. There's a healthy humility to like, oh hey, yeah, we're gonna get feedback and like listen to it.
Yeah, it's been impressive to see the decisions that they're making. I mean, also like we talked about this a little bit last week, but they're rolling out skill MTXs so that you can basically like change out the appearance of your abilities, but they're rolling them out as Twitch drops first that you can just get for free. Because like honestly, they're mostly just color swaps for the first set. And
even so, I'm in danger.
And like, but by doing so, like they're gonna get people, you know, interested in them as giving them freebies, and then the ones that they're selling are probably going to sell better as a result once they get used to playing with the shifted color palettes. Because like lightning bolts or the lightning strike ability, the one of the ones that comes with the Twitch drop is like a holy lightning, so it's more of a whitish yellowy lightning instead of a blue lightning. Smite is like a red lightning bolt for sentinels instead of the normal yellow lightning bolts. So like on the Twitch drops, there's basically one for every class that does at least one swap of a common ability. But I think that was a smart decision, like, you know, because especially if the first ones are just palette swaps, giving some away for free, probably not a bad idea. I'm also interested to see what their next supporter bundles look like, because they've said that all of the current supporter bundles are going away.
But I love the way they announced that, because they committed to saying that all the current ones are going away, but there will be at least a little bit of time of overlap where the new ones will be available and the current ones will still be available. So you can take a look at what's new and decide, oh, I want to throw some money at them, but I don't really like any of the new stuff, but I still need to pick up one of these old ones. And like, that's so smart.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm way more excited about this coming season than I am about anything else right now, I think.
Yeah, I haven't been paying that close attention, but what I've heard is really good. I've had this good feeling about Last Epoch since we started playing it. It's cool to see that like start to take off.
Yeah, it seems like they're adding so much this time around. Yep. Hopefully will make it worth the wait.
Yeah, like one of the items that they showed off is a Weaver's Will two-handed sword for Flame Reeve, and I forget what other ability is on it, but it essentially converts all block chance that you have to parry chance. so that you can now play like a Flameweave Sork that has like tons of ability to parry as a defensive layer. And like that's interesting. They've not really had any of that support in the like parry has been a thing that exists but not really supported. So it's interesting to see them fleshing out more areas with uniques. And so the other thing that happened, like I think it was basically like within hours
Oh
of
man.
the announcement on like the podcast with Rax and Ziz. D4 had one of their campfire chats to talk about season 8, and I was largely positive going into it because I was only seeing like bits and pieces going across social feeds. So like they simplified boss summoning to where you only need one material per boss, so that's a good move because it was kind of a pain to, haul all the materials. But then I
But
started reading all the rest of the stuff.
well, and even it's not even from what I think it said is that you don't even need a material to summon it, but you need a material to open the
Yes, to
loot
get
box,
loot.
which means that gone are the
no.
days of us rolling around together and one person summons the boss and everybody gets loot.
Yes, it's gonna feel awful.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, last season was too good. That's the takeaway. Is it was too much fun, and too many people progressed through the game too quickly, and we can't have any of
Yeah,
that
we can't
because
have
we're
that.
Blizzard.
Oh, jeez.
So this
Yeah.
is the thing that just killed me. Is they said 40% of all characters made it to tier 4 and could farm Torment 4. I'm like, that sounds good. That sounds like a good place to be. That means you had good engagement. No.
That's the
They want that
highest?
they want that yeah, that's the highest. They want that number to be 10%.
What?
Good
Yes.
lord.
What?
They want being able to do the highest base difficulty, and like Torment 4 isn't the ceiling of the content. That is just the beginning of the real end game. They want that to be 10% of players can get there.
I swear, how many times has Blizzard had to learn this lesson?
I don't know. It's like it reminds me of the whole
This is what you get when the Raiders called elitist jerks. Make
yeah,
us
like
game studio.
this
Yeah.
reminds me of the whole discussion about Naxxramas. So like, when they're talking, I don't remember what the interview was, but they were doing a panel interview, and it's like, so basically like you spent, all these hundreds of hours of development resources to build a raid that less than 3% of the player base ever saw, let alone cleared.
Yep.
So yeah, like they're slowing down a lot of stuff. They
I-
don't want people to chain summon bosses anymore.
They don't have an end game, so they're slowing everything down so it takes you longer to get to the lack of end game.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they don't want legendaries to drop faster than one every 4 minutes, which doesn't sound bad, but loot tends to drop in clusters.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna it's gonna feel awful. It's gonna take you forever to get your gear. And like what made last season feel so good is that it was real quick to get online and get your build, and then you could just do fun stuff.
And a pretty reasonable variety of builds were decent in season 7, and they have also apparently said that no, actually the two couple of builds that were underperforming builds, that's what they want everything to feel like. So they're not going to
Yes.
buff the underperformers, they're going to nerf everything else.
Again, how many times has Blizzard had to learn this lesson?
I
Good
mean,
grief.
yeah, I might just take a pass on season 8 unless
Yeah.
I hear something else. Like maybe the seasonal mechanic is fun. I haven't heard a ton about the specifics of
It's
that.
fighting Belial. Like, you basically fight 3 random bosses and then fight Belial. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's basically like a boss wave kind of thing. It's not Blood Tide or Witch Tide or whatever. And there's powers that you can get from the bosses, and that's the borrowed power mechanic. I don't think it's going to feel anywhere near as good as here's a zone that's up at all times, and here's 4 different copies of the zone, and you can cycle back and forth between them. Each of them's up for like 30 minutes. Farm till your heart is content.
Yeah, it's hard to top that.
Like, this is just continuing the tradition of, every other season in Diablo IV has been a shit season.
Also, are they ever gonna just give us something that's not just a borrowed power system that might be fun for
No,
a season?
because they're basically WoW designers. They're following the WoW playbook of borrowed power.
Ugh.
Like, that's how WoW existed for how many expansions, where like, here's a new borrowed power system. You're going to level it all up, and then it's going to get flushed down the toilet the next time a new expansion comes out. Like, it's the same thing. And they're not doing anything to actively grow the game in interesting ways. Like, where's Betrayal? Where's Heist? Where's Delve? Where's interesting mechanics that change the game permanently, like, and become more content in the game as a whole? You just have this seasonal treadmill with borrowed power that does not matter next season. And as a result, you still have this super shallow game because nothing is adding to the game.
But also, woof, all of that, like, pretty crap news for Diablo coming right on top of absolute knocking it out of the park by Last Epoch.
Yeah, like, Diablo 4 players, buy into Last Epoch. You'll love it.
Yeah. Woof. Just what a blow.
I feel like I would have been happier if I had just not heard anything about Diablo 4 right now, because it would be hard to encroach on the hype I feel about Last Epoch at the moment. But the fact that pretty much everything that's coming for the next season of Diablo is crap is really not helpful.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
So like I said, like, their Last Epoch season is launching at exactly the right time. So what is Megamek?
Megamek is an old program that has remained up to date. It's basically a way that you can play Battletech online.
Okay. Is this a very unsupported thing, a la Apprentice back in the day when you could play Magic over the, like,
Yes.
a text client?
Yes.
It's like an open source tabletop Battletech.
Okay.
It is. So I have played there's a few different things that you can use to play like tabletop minis games online. And most of them have, how do I politely put this? A UX mindset of you'll deal with it. We did the hard part. You can suck up the rest. And this is not really any different. Like
you can edit your own XML document for your config file, right?
Yeah. That's where we're like, you can port forward in the year of our Lord 2025 for this thing to work properly. But it does work. And honestly, like, it's not any worse than something like Vassal, which is not a high bar, but it is as far as experiential. But it is like, hey, if you wanted to play online, if you absolutely wanted to play this online, you could play this online. And it's got a bot in it. You can play against an AI. It's not like a tremendously good AI, but also it's a complicated problem that they're solving. Because you can just plug any any number of mechs of any variant into that AI, and the AI is like, all right, I'll play these. So it's, and that means that there's some limitations on what it can do and how strategically it can think and so forth. But
one of the questions in the FAQ is, why is the bot so stupid? So yeah.
Apparently the bot used to be dramatically worse.
I mean, that's the new bot is substantially better than the original bot.
Yeah. But what's interesting about it to me is like it really exists in this. I read an article recently that described the concept of living under the API, which really resonated with me. That's like some part of you or your entire self is operating under like where all of the awareness writ large across the internet is. And this really feels like it's flying under the radar. If it were too good, it would become a problem. Mm-hmm. And so it's not.
Well, and it's probably somebody's weekend project that grew way out of control.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
yeah. Almost certainly.
It is probably the single most like comprehensive single source for anything Battletech, including like official sources.
And like you could probably do all this with virtual tabletop, but it would be way more cumbersome because you have no guardrails there.
I mean, also tabletop doesn't have even a rudimentary AI to play against.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just it's so interesting to see like the Battletech is one of the few games that I play that's older than I am. And it's interesting to see like this thing has been around since the 90s, I think.
Yeah, like I remember play by email Battletech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's for me it's just such an interesting world in like on the extreme other end, you have something like Star Wars Shatterpoint, where they have assembly guides online with helpful tools and these elegant, list building tools available. Infinity has all of its rules up for free online, and this, incredibly slick, list building tool. And like, I've shared back and forth with Kodra our frustration that like, how is there no one place that has like just like reasonable list building? It's like I have to go to one place to put together a list, then I have to go to somewhere else to get all of the sheets, and it's just like, why does this feel so archaic?
I just wish Flex showed BV.
Yeah, and the reason is that like the Flex guy and the Reactor Ops guy and the Master Unit List guy all kind of have fundamental ideological disagreements and have built their own weird little fiefdoms because they're built by these sort of, purists from like super devoted, but also, a little bit obsessive purists. And so they're trying to solve this problem, not the overarching experience. And like, I remember so many games like that are just like, I remember, I think it took me, I remember having a vacation where I played KOTOR 2, and I spent the same amount of time troubleshooting KOTOR 2 running on my computer as I did actually playing it. Mm-hmm. And this felt normal. This is like hearkening back to those eras.
Well, I can get this config file to give me mouse support, but I can't get sound yet. So I'm going to have to work on that a bit.
Yeah.
That was me with Master of Magic.
Literally,
for whatever reason, that was my nemesis.
Literally any game published in the like early to mid 90s by Origin.
Oh my god.
Desperately trying to free up enough conventional memory to be able to run it.
I've got mouse and I've got sound now, but I can't read the CD-ROM anymore.
We didn't detect your sound blaster.
I do remember, and it was a very weird one, but it was Monopoly, like Star Wars Monopoly was my first game that was a game I had to upgrade my computer to be able to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Doom was the first game that prompted me to upgrade a computer.
Pretty sure it was Baldur's Gate.
same. Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, I think it was Space Quest. I think it was Space Quest 6.
Oh man, I wonder if that game has aged well. There's no way, right? Like, I would be sad.
Probably not.
Hey, Night Dive. you should do Space Quest.
But anyway, Megamek is interesting because it's such a snapshot of both a particular time and a particular mindset, and it's just so interesting to me. Like, it does not care about tutorialization. It does not care about UX. Those are just not considerations. And like I mentioned, Shatterpoint List Builder is like, that is not an official thing. That is somebody's passion project, but it has an incredibly slick UX. And I don't know when that like changeover happened in the like, this is my weekend project kind of sphere, but it sure has.
I think partially we got a lot of languages on the scene that are high enough level that you don't have to get in the weeds as much to make things function the way that you want them to function, and can devote more resources to making them look pretty. Whereas a lot of that early software is like written in C++.
Or Visual Basic. It's always fun to see. It's like, oh, what has the UI from the old visual languages? Still looks like it's Windows 95.
Yeah, Apprentice very much looked like Windows 95 programs for years after Windows 95 was no longer a thing.
That said, I do feel like the other one I deal with, which is Path of Building, I'm not quite sure what that's written in, but it also feels exceptionally old.
Yeah, I just don't know how you, like, I don't know. Like, I think the problem with Path of Building is all of their effort is going to the calculations. They do not have someone working on the visual aspects of it. But it also feels dated for certain. So the thing that I have been spending most of my time playing this week is Monster Hunter Wilds, and we talked a little bit about it last week, only at the most surface level. I have now seen the midpoint credit roll and also finished all of the quests in the main sequence. And
is the mid-credit roll the low rank end?
Yes, the low rank end is when you actually see your credits roll. And then high rank end is just kind of, oh, look, your HR number changes from green to blue. Congrats on being at the end game.
Does the number stop going up?
No, the number gets uncapped.
Apparently, it goes up all the way to 999, and there is already a player in Japan who has reached that.
Oh no!
Yeah, like I have a friend that's 90 something, so that's the highest that I've seen. I'm 42 at this point.
Hooray!
So this is a significantly better game than Monster Hunter World was, other than the weird performance issues that we had intermittently at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, I'm really glad this week things seem to have stabilized, and I've mostly just been able to play because when it first came out, and for a few days at least after that, it was a major gamble when I started a quest if it would just crash me completely out, and that has stopped. So I can actually enjoy it, and I have hit the midpoint credits.
Yay.
I mean, I think a lot of the problem that they were dealing with is that this was just wildly successful. Like, it has a Steam peak concurrency of like 1.8 or like 1,384,000 players, which makes it number 5 on the all-time peak concurrent list for Steam, just behind Counter-Strike 2. So, like,
That's
I
pretty
think they were
wild.
having some server challenges, maybe.
Yeah, that's
But, like,
nuts.
there's a lot of cool things about this game. There's some weird stuff going on in the UI, but most of it's fixable. Like, both manual and auto mounts perform exactly the same unless you fix that in the interface. But also, like, the auto tracking is phenomenal. Because, like, that was always kind of a nuisance in Monster Hunter World, is you really needed to understand the layout of the map to be able to figure out where the hell the thing's going. Whereas now you just mount up and hit tab or whatever the equivalent is on a controller, and your mount runs after them.
I love that so much.
It's the up button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's up.
Yeah, like
And
one
then,
is auto, one is, I think it's up and down is the manual maybe.
I also like that I can have my mount just follow, and then I can focus on like targeting collectibles and hook shotting them to me.
Yeah, that feels so good, and sharpen your weapon and eat.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, like when the monster runs, you can take a potion, sharpen your weapon, you know, if you need to like re-up cool or hot drink, you know, you can do that maintenance while you're running to the location.
I mean, heck, even if you're in the middle of a fight and the monster has you on the ropes, it's probably better to try and get on your secret first.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then get some distance and then try and heal and sharpen and get back into the fight. Because you also get to start with a jump attack.
Yeah.
And it makes mounting things so much easier.
Yeah. That's great.
Even on a weapon that is traditionally terrible at mounting people, like the hammer.
Super smashy, bro.
I am booping Snoot. I mean, so
I love that you can have two weapons. Like, that's huge too.
I do enjoy that, and I need to get better at literally any other weapon.
Yeah, at some point I should actually make use of my second weapon.
I should get good at a weapon that does well against things in the air.
Or you can just have another version of your regular weapon as your second weapon so that you can shift elemental or whatever.
Also true.
Yeah.
Which is what I've been doing.
Also possible.
Like now I've got my charge blade, and then I've got the light bow gun as my second weapon.
Yeah.
But I rarely pull the thing out.
I went all in on Sword and Shield, and I'm really loving Sword and Shield, but I keep a hammer as my second weapon so that I can have something that hits hard whenever I wake things up with that have gone to sleep.
What do you do as your wake up attack with that?
Just the 3-hit roundhouse type combo. It's not as significant as, say, like a great sword, but it hits way harder than a sword and shield does.
I get so
like shield bash is my hardest hitting attack as sword and shield, and that's kind of not a great wake up ability.
The best if you want to do damage with the hammer, you press B 5 times for the Big Bang combo.
Yeah, that's
basically what damage.
That's basically what I'm trying to wake them up with, is the Big Bang combo.
I feel like that combo is too long for a wake up attack. Like, it's fine if they're on, like, it's great for when they get stunned and go to the ground.
I mean, it's better than what I have otherwise.
I guess that's fair.
Like, I could switch out and like run a great sword and do their 3-hit combo where you're trying to space it so that only the last hit hits them.
The one I really love is I like how wounds work in this game right now.
Yes. I love that, because you end up getting so many more materials, and I noticed this just through going through the campaign. Like, I was able to craft gear so much faster than I ever did in World.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's just one more thing to make things interesting. Like, I find the hammer maybe a little bit simplistic. There's not a ton going on there for me. But like the fact that it's like, oh, I should check to see if there are wounds I could start exploiting periodically is very nice.
Yeah.
I am not running it right now, but at some point I'm going to craft the orange paralysis weapon because that seems like a really useful thing for Sword and Shield to be doing. Whereas like I'm out in front of the monster doing guard attacks a lot of the time because it keeps me from taking damage. But also if I'm occasionally paralyzing them, it's a good thing. I have been running almost exclusively with the NPC hunters though. Like I have mine set to auto SOS and I've got it set to only summon the NPC hunters. So like I'm always in a group of 4 and it feels so much better.
Yeah, it kind of feels like cheating, but I love it.
Like the game was always more enjoyable multiplayer and now you can just do this by yourself.
It also, as someone who is maining a bow, is amazing to always have other people harassing the monsters and keeping its attention so that I can shoot it in the face.
I was really shocked. I mean, this is getting into flow of the game spoilers territory, but not story spoilers territory. But I was shocked at how fast tempered mobs showed up. Because, like, in my memory, fuzzy though it may be, I thought tempered was like one of the last things that opened up in Monster Hunter World. Like, after you had done a bunch of high rank content, then suddenly you started to see tempered things. Whereas as soon as you go into higher rank, you are introduced to tempered and frenzied mobs that both exist as alternate versions of things that you have fought in other forms that are just roaming around the world.
Oh boy.
Well,
Yeah. So they're not like treated as a different difficulty level necessarily. They're just treated as alternate versions. So that was interesting. Like one of the weekly quests right now is to do 3 tempered hunts, and those are pretty much just things you find out in the world. So the other thing that I really like about...
Are there not like tempered quests?
I've not encountered that many tempered quests. Like there's some optional stuff that opens up, but most of it's not tempered and most of it's not frenzied. So you kind of have to start quests. So one of the things that you can do is you can highlight a mob on the map, and I don't know what the equivalent with a controller is, but you hit F twice to start a quest to hunt the thing that's already on the map. And then your mount will auto seek on it at that point. So that's a little bit easier than just roam around and see if something's up. The other thing that's really cool with the mount is if you're looking for resources, you can highlight a resource on your map and hit X to make it a waypoint, and then your mount will go straight to that node. So like if you need an ore node, you just go look at one on your map, highlight it, put a waypoint on it, and your mount will take you to the most efficient way to get there.
It also helps if you're just trying to get someplace on the map and you don't really know the most efficient way. You don't have to memorize it. Even if you're not chasing a monster, you can just highlight a node nearby, have your mount take you. It's delightful.
Nice.
Yes.
Like I think the thing that I first carded on was the magma ape.
There was something before
I
that
carded
one
on the
for
stupid
me.
Early Firebird because I did not have my controls down in a reasonable way.
And it did the tail whip, and you were not prepared for it?
No, I just wasn't even. It wasn't even like impressive. It was just ignominious. Like, that's not the button for that. Well,
yeah, because that cockatrice, whatever, I don't know what the names of any of these things are yet. Like I know the old. Like I know the old ones, but yeah.
I think the first thing I carded on was the Uthduna.
Is that
the water thing,
dragon?
the water thing. Yeah, that was rough. That was the first fight.
That is
was
a hard fight, and it's an annoying fight because you're dealing no damage for a very long time.
Yeah, whenever it's got its cloak up.
You just have to get up under there and hit its feet.
Yeah, because like that, as Sword and Shield, it wasn't too bad because I could sit up front and start doing guard attacks that would be at least doing orange damage instead of blue damage. What I was surprised at is like a lot of the big encounters I thought were gonna be the things that I carded on constantly, and like while I had to take a lot of mega potions, I made it through most of them.
There was one.
The one that kicked my ass is the first high rank encounter, which is this game's version of the egg bird. But it's not the egg bird, it's something different. But it takes basically the place in the hierarchy of that encounter, and it is just super fast, and it's tiny, and like it has super small hitbox, and it like coats like it belches up magma, and it was just it's awful.
Ugh.
I got absolutely stomped in the face by the first Rathalos.
That first Rathalos is real rough when you encounter it.
Mm-hmm.
I spent the first part of the game being like, I hate all of these like low to the ground, small profile BS monsters. And then it was like Rathalos, and I was like, yes, this is what I have been waiting for. Absolutely trashed it. You know what Insect Wave loves? Big, stupid jerks with wings. Fly better
was
than
just
you,
so fast.
Huge target.
I don't think I had any bows with Rathalos with bow.
Like upward slash is the only thing that I really have that can hit things in air, and like it's only one hit of a combo. So yeah, I kept trying to knock it out of the air.
Yeah, I am mounting my sacred and running into it, but it's just, boy, does it have a lot of annoying things to deal with. I should this is why I'm like, I should learn how to play Insect Glaive and build an Insect Glaive and just use that for the Rathalos.
Yeah, Rathian is also annoying.
Yeah, all of the flying. That's what I'm kind of learning is more important than like anything else. I need to have a air-based solution to complement my hammer.
Can you still use flash pods to knock things out of the air?
You can.
That's what you did in Morals.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Is I was knocking it to the ground with flash pods and then wailing on it.
There are not. I mean, again, it depends on how many flash pods you have. Like you only have like 3.
I find flash bugs all over the place. I guess.
But so can you build? I guess you could probably create more while you're like in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, so like if you see flash bugs and you switch to your capture net, you can turn them into both essence and flash pods. I don't know. Like now that I've gotten into it, it just feels like a incremental improvement over Worlds in every way.
I am enjoying. Like I know people are kind of down on it because I see this online, but I don't quite understand why. I love the story.
I could care less about the story. Skip. Like it was fine.
I like that there is a story.
It was an ARPG story. It was fine.
I like the stuff that started happening in chapter 3, like the reveal there. I thought was pretty interesting. I don't mind the story. It's all right. It's serviceable.
I like the characters much better.
Yeah,
across the board.
Yeah, the characters are pretty good.
I thought I was gonna hate having the little kid following us around the whole time, but actually, he was fine.
I love Olivia. She's so cool.
She's my favorite.
Yes. And Athos is too, her cat.
Olivia just happens to run with a couple idiots. And
I also appreciate that all of these characters actually have names.
Yes,
Yeah,
this is
they're-
true.
Not just the
well,
hunter.
so that's the thing that I dig about this one is, so in Monster Hunter World, there was another squad of hunters that had a keeper and a hunter and a support person that was also running missions, but you never really knew who the hell they were. You just saw them occasionally. But like now you have this other fully fleshed out group of people that is a competing squad. Not competing, but you know,
They are.
so like
they
you
are
do
helping
know,
you out. You're
you know
working
all
together.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're both doing your own thing, but you help each other out, and
You actually
Well,
have
that's
more
good.
than that because you also have like
Rosso and
Rosso and Ruben's squad.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Alessia, yeah.
yep. And those are the people that come in when you do NPCs. Is you get Rosso and Alessio and Olivia.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, so you get Hammer, Lance, Bowgun.
Nice. But yeah, they've set it up so it does really feel like you're all in this, great big expedition together. You all have your focus, parts that you're doing and stuff. But yeah, it's a really nice teamwork kind of setup that I really like.
Yeah, we're all friends and we all work together. And then there's also Werner.
Yeah.
God, the bad ideas guy does
Man,
not
that guy-
understand why he should care.
Dude, that guy feels like a pointed commentary that I was not expecting out of Monster Hunter, frankly.
Yeah.
And each of the little, factions in the zones are pretty great. Like that's not something I remember from World either. Like there were the Lineans, but I don't
Yeah.
remember like indigenous groups inside of Monster Hunter World. Am I misremembering it or?
I don't think so.
I don't think they've no.
The Wub Wubs.
I'm not sure about those wub-wubs.
By the way,
But Rove is the best character. in
Rove.
the
Okay, Rogue
entire
was pretty
game.
great.
Yeah.
are we all in like? I have not heard anyone else say this, but Rene Descartes.
What?
He starts off with like a whole thing about I think therefore I am.
Oh, yeah. I
Rove.
suppose
Oh,
so,
yeah.
yeah. Just hanging out there, being rolled up
Yeah.
in spider webs. Why not?
This is fine.
He's having a whole time.
Real happy to see us, but otherwise, no big deal.
No one comments on the fact like it is the weirdest like lampshading. Like, why are we not commenting on like this clear difference between this Wub Wub who like speaks better than most of the people on the expedition and all of the other Wub Wubs, even the great Wub Wub diplomat. I don't know. I love him.
And his
Precisely.
pink wig.
Very scarifying.
Very scarifying.
I am constantly delighted by just the amount of charm and stuff like that in this game too.
I should I do feel, I don't know if it was mentioned before, but if you are afraid of spiders, this game is really bad because it tries to tell you there's an arachnophobia mode and it lies.
Oh,
Well, it works for things that aren't the bosses.
It only works on
Oh.
the endemic life.
It only works on the endemic life.
Oh
Mm.
no.
Because boy, there are some real spidery boss monsters.
Yeah, that's
Both
Yeah.
Only-
More than one.
unhelpful.
Phobia is an irrational fear here, and being afraid of those huge things is absolutely rational. Therefore,
Although-
definitionally not an arachnophobia. Wait.
Like, I love the design of the rose spider thingy.
Yeah, it's really cool, but also
But
if I was
it
afraid of spiders,
definitely-
oh man.
It definitely looks like a spider.
Well, and you end up fighting like two almost back to back because Nursilla
Yeah.
is pretty shortly after you fight the
Also
paralyzed
spider.
spider.
Mhm.
Yes. Anyways, there is in fact a actual arachnophobia mod for the game.
Proving once again that the correct choice is to buy on PC.
So what does that make those bosses look like?
Just big blobs.
Okay.
Wow.
Like, that's what the arachnophobia in game also does. It makes the small spiders look just blobby.
It just
Oh,
makes them
wow,
blobs.
okay.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
green slimes.
Oh, it turns them into slimes. Okay.
That's kind of hilarious too.
But they could have done it for the actual boss monsters.
Oh.
Ugh. I heard somebody say, and I don't think that I necessarily disagree, but somebody was commenting that you can tell I forget, you can tell that the studio who makes Monster Hunter, the name of which is eluding me at the moment, but you can tell that they hit critical mass of dads for this game compared to the previous.
Because you now have a prominent child that you're helping along in the mission.
Well, because they have a
More
well-written
than
child.
one.
They have a well-written child in the game.
And multiple other like less important children who you are assisting, like Gemma's little sister.
Oh yeah.
She just wanted to gather some oil.
That town is the weirdest town.
They're just weird people doing their weird things, man.
I just want to really set things on fire. I mean,
they got to make their orichalcum. It's important for their culture.
And otherwise, everything in the town looks like an oil site covered in crude oil.
I do really appreciate the way it feels like I didn't feel this way in Monster Hunter Worlds. In this game, it feels like hunters are like highly regulated living weapons.
Yes.
I am not allowed to do anything unless it's authorized by the guild. But boy, does everyone make sure that I know I'm authorized to do this thing.
You're authorized. Just
yeah, go.
Go take
now.
care of it now.
I am the guild. I'm authorizing you for this hunt. Please kill this thing.
But like, okay, Alma is infinitely more competent than the handler for Monster Hunter World. Like, Alma feels like she is a useful member of my party.
I don't remember much about the handler from Monster Hunter World other than, like, she kept track of stuff in her book for me.
She kept getting in the way and drawing monsters upon us and things like that in that game.
Oh, that's true in the story, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, like, Alma will carve stuff. Like, she will gather things.
It's very funny.
Like...
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been Alma's fault that a monster, attacked me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a plus.
Like, to be fair, I feel like I'm in her party.
I appreciate that they made you, the hunter, markedly less competent in several notable areas so that their other characters can shine. Like, you have a precise set of skills. Talking to other people is not really one of them. And it's delightful because it's not that you don't try, but you're not very good at it. And I sort of love that.
Just every time you have the opportunity to talk to someone, and you go like, and one of the options is like, "So what have you been into?"
Yeah.
I'm curious because I have not beaten the story yet. There's like heavily hinted that there is a backstory to your character that is not clear, like, as I am going through the story. But, like, it feels like my character has a history that still feels underexplored. Like, Alma makes a bunch of comments about how I'm usually a solo operator. Why did I choose to do this? And it's like, I believe even the person who's, like, chartering the expeditions, like, we chose you because of your history.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to be useful here. And you're like, oh, I see. But, like, you don't know what that history is.
Well, at one point you get to ask Alma, like, why she put your name in. She's like, because I wanted someone who's lost something.
Yes,
like,
that's
okay.
really interesting.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know yet.
But what?
Oh, jeez. Well, I hope it goes somewhere because, I remember that part now. I was like, oh, wow.
It's like part of me is like I'm really curious if I'm going to learn more about this character I'm playing, and part of me is just like I wonder if these are just interesting roleplay prompts. Like, what did I lose?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that's just an excuse for your character to be, a somewhat socially awkward loner.
So, okay, the game ends in an interesting way. So I am technically on chapter 6.1, even though I'm completely out of main story quest. So like, I kind of think they're gonna release more main story quest as the game rolls on.
Oh,
Because like you don't get a second credit roll. The game just kind of continues on, like, but you're on, a quest step that doesn't have there's not another quest step, but it's on 6.1 is when it ends.
It's like being on question mark in
right.
Final Fantasy 14.
Right, it feels like the between your patches on 14. So hopefully we will at some point know something about our character's backstory.
I just think it's really interesting that this character that could otherwise be a wholly blank slate does seem to have like something interesting going on to it. There's more depth to this character than I think there was to the Hunter and World.
And you do get like big food cutscenes, but they aren't cats. They are the various villages.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
But supposedly the cat chef is coming.
I hope so. Chef. Yes.
Like every so often, one of the villages will send you a message after you've hit high rank saying that they want to treat you to a meal for all that you've done. And there will be a big cinematic meal sequence for that village.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but I need cat chef.
Well, and I kind of want to have it more regularly because it's like, I know a lot of people just skipped over those, but I did not. I love those animations so much.
I need them to very precariously put like the little things on the end of my chickens, like drumsticks.
Yes.
I don't know. I think tomorrow I'm going to spend most of the day trying to get an end game set of gear crafted so that I've got some stuff. But if anyone needs someone to tank for them, let me know. I will happily tag along for group content. Any other short topics?
I got to play Finspan today, which was very fun.
What is that?
So have you heard of Wingspan?
Like other than the measurement, no.
It's a board game about birds, and it's great.
It's a board game about birds, and it's great.
It's a very beautiful board game about birds.
You are collecting birds and kind of building engines. This is a board game about creating a fishery and like going diving. So it's Wingspan, but for fish.
There's also a dragon version, Wormspan.
There's also Wormspan, yes. But yes, I got to play some Wingspan today, and yes, that was quite a lot of fun. I think a little. It's very interesting. It doesn't do one of the things that Wingspan does is like you lose the number of actions. There are 4 rounds, and you have fewer actions as you progress through the rounds. That's less true here, but you also start off with more going on your board. Okay. So it's sort of like it doesn't have the kind of slow start that Wingspan has.
And what was the name of this game?
Finspan. Fin, like a fish's fin.
Okay.
I wonder, do they have this on Steam? Because you can get Wingspan on Steam.
I don't know. This is very new. This is like a brand new game, and it was at the Mox, and so I went to the Mox today with my sister and nephew are in town, and I was like, we should go to the Mox.
Yeah, it doesn't look like their other ones have been adapted to Steam.
Yeah.
Dungeon Crawler Carl continues to be great.
I just finished the 3rd book.
I am nearing the end of the 6th book.
I was very happy that there was a lot more interaction with other crawlers in the 3rd book.
That continues.
I mean, yeah, good. Because, like, Carl and Donut are great, but, other characters too.
You've got a whole diaspora of characters that you care about now.
In my continuing, like, learning how to play chess with my kid, I'm starting to explore chess.com and some of the features. And it's very interesting how, like, if for paid accounts, like free accounts get this once per day, one game per day of like a AI game analysis where an AI like they will go through every single move and be like, we think this was an inaccuracy, we think this was a better move, like this was a great move that you found, this is like this move that you did was setting up for this. It's very interesting, and because chess AIs are so powerful, like it's actually very good at coaching you. So I enjoy that there is a way to learn how to play chess that is mostly just you playing chess, and then you have something telling you, like, doing an analysis of the, like, a retrospective on each of your games. Because the idea of learning how to play chess by reading a book does sound like a nightmare to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have tried to read a chess book. I got my kid a chess openings book for kids, geared for kids. And let me tell you, geared for kids who are able to read algebraic notation and like put those moves onto the board in their head.
Cool.
Like,
definitely a thing that I could do as a kid at any time.
I mean, chess is weird. It is a fun game, but it's also, I don't know, like, the problem with chess is finding someone that is willing to play on a level that you can play it on.
Well, so that's the interesting thing about like chess.com is they will keep your elo and they will put you with people near your elo, which means you're mostly playing people like roughly in your skill bracket. And as you get better, they'll find more challenging opponents for you. And like it is really interesting how it's a heavily moderated site. So like somebody who is cheating and gets caught cheating just gets banned. Smurfing is against terms of service as well. So if like you have a rated account, like if you have a like 2000 rating and you like start a 400 account, unless you get like prior approval to like make your account a Smurf account, that account will get banned. And like everyone's any like elo losses that people incurred while you were winning will get reverted.
Man, can you imagine if certain other games did that?
I know, right? Like there are exceptions that they make for like there are certain people who have lower rated accounts because it's just like it is specifically so that they can make educational content. But yes.
The thing with chess is it's such a documented game that like folks can tell by play pattern who's playing.
It is true, and like it's like there are definitely times where you're watching the top end professionals playing, and it's like, oh, this guy's just cheating. Like that is a move that Stockfish would do against me because it's a move that's like valuable 50 chess moves down the row, but like no human would ever do this.
I think the other big part of it is that chess is somewhat unique in the like centuries old classic games in that it has both discrete rules and a discrete end.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are other games that have as much or longer of a history than chess and have similar or higher caps in skill and so forth, but like they aren't as clean cut.
I would also say, especially if you're thinking about Go, the other big advantage chess has over Go is like a chess clock game is a game that takes like the default version of chess is each player has 10 minutes on their clock.
Well, yeah, I mean, chess has evolved into a game about tournament play.
But at the same time, like, even a tournament level Go game is a multi-hour affair.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like a martial arts tournament versus a soccer tournament.
Like, Go is just a much longer game than chess is.
I don't generally find that to be true, but there is a point on the Go learning curve where it becomes a very long game. But that's part of the thing, is it doesn't have a particularly discrete end. There isn't a checkmate. Go ends when both sides pass.
Yeah, it ends when both players have agreed that we're done.
And there's definitely a point in the learning where you're like, oh, my opponent passed. I need to do something so I don't pass, because you don't. It's a game where you can have lost and not realize it.
Yeah, so I have the only like Go experience I have is playing at a convention with like the Seattle like Go Club sponsor. And the general advice I was given is, especially as a new player, to just keep playing until it's very obvious why
Absolutely.
both sides should pass.
Yeah,
because the biggest question on the Go Reddit is, here's our board state, who won, and the most frequent answer is, this game isn't over, you should keep playing.
Which is part of the beauty of Go to me, but like really, really skilled Go players are done very fast.
So, and when I was talking to that same person, their comment on I think it's a 19 by 19 is the standard tournament size Go board, is, at least for a new player, you should expect that game to go about 4 hours.
Yes, this is true.
And even as like a relatively new chess player, I can get a game in like 10 minutes.
I definitely had chess games growing up that went on for hours.
It's reasonable.
Like, chess is definitely, like you were saying, like chess AI, like chess has much more solved of a game. And so like, I don't think there were that many books on chess openings when I was a kid, for example, much less chess openings for children.
It is, I need to stress, it is not for children. That book is so ridiculous.
But that it's even got that title, to me, says something, right?
Yeah, well, like, I mean, it's based off of another. It's in the series of How to Beat Your Dad at Chess.
The How to Beat Your Dad at Chess series.
Yes,
incredible.
The other nice thing about Chess.com, which is both fascinating and kind of extremely intimidating, is it has like lessons, like video lessons on all of the different openings that you can watch, and then quizzes after the fact. But each of, like, the one I opened up was like an hour and a half long, and I was like, okay, maybe when I'm a little bit better, I'll start caring about this. The hilarious thing is I kind of got into chess because my YouTube algorithm recommended me these cute J-pop chess opening songs. Check out Chess Mokta if you're interested.
Well, that is probably a show, especially because we're losing an hour tomorrow.
Oh no.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
See you.